All right, we got some people flowing in here. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. All right, looks like we're still letting some people in. All right, cool. We're going to go ahead and get kicked off. I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself because everybody's probably wondering who is this bald guy that looks similar to Josh, but it's not Josh. My name is Aaron Letty. I am the head coach here at Results Driven. So if I have not got the privilege, honor to meet any of you guys, or if you haven't seen me in any of the other community lives of what I run on a consistent basis, my job here at Results Driven is I get to oversee all of our student success across all of the programs of what we have, from the first introduction program all the way up through our small group coaching. And I have a team of coaches that I oversee on a given day-to-day basis. A little bit about me. I also am a owner operator in my own real estate investment business as well. And I take all of the practical knowledge and the skills and all of the things that we talk about from a systematic sales, marketing, business approach, and I apply that in my business as well. So, what we're going to cover today, what you guys all came here to understand and see, before I introduce the people that are with me on the panel for today, is we're going to talk through everything PPL. So I am going to take some time. I'm going to make this as interactive as humanly possible. I don't got a magical PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to tell you guys when I want you guys to take some pretty cool notes, and give you guys some really good nuggets on how to maximize your efficiency within the channels that we're going to talk about today. But we're going to talk about some common misbeliefs with PPL today, and some things that I have personally seen of the thousands of people that I have coached, in my 5 years of doing this, and how we essentially can optimize the performance in these given channels. So, welcome everybody in. What I want really quick is I want everybody to go to the chat for me, and let me know where you guys are from. Let's get some cities. Let's get some states. Where are you guys from? Where you guys are actively investing right now? Let's see. All right, we got people in. We got Charlotte, Michigan, New Jersey, San Antonio. Mark, what's up, my friend? Long time no talk. We got Southwest Ohio, Dana, Denver, Phoenix. We are all over the place. I love to hear it. Love to see it. Got some DC, Arizona. Love it. Dallas. All right, cool. All right, guys. So what we're gonna do is once again, I'm gonna make this super interactive. All right. I don't have a presentation. I don't have a PowerPoint. I don't have any of these things, but I want to introduce the people that are with me today. Amanda, I'll let you introduce yourself if you want to introduce yourself, and then James, I'll let you introduce yourself, for you to introduce yourself as well.
Hi, everybody. I am Amanda Webster. I am the Director of Partnerships here for Results Driven. So, anytime that you are needing any services, any solutions in your business that we can help you with, I am your gal to get that. And I collaborate with everybody here to make sure that we're giving you the valuable content that you need. So, even like after today, if there's a topic you want us to talk about in these community lives, please don't be afraid to reach out and let us know so we can make this as beneficial to you as possible.
Love it. Amanda's awesome.
Amazing.
She's my second
Thank
favorite
you.
person.
Yeah, awesome. Hey everybody. I'm James Hartquist. I run Property Leads. We're a pay-per-lead company in the real estate space. I'm thinking most people have probably heard of us at this point. At one point, we were kind of the best kept secret around, but now not so much the case anymore. Um, we work, really closely with results driven. Some of the things we're going to talk about today are some of the things that I've seen for where folks have the most success. And one of the sort of the leading indicators of that is having a coaching program or a mentor that can help you along the way as things get tough. So if you guys are here with these guys, you're with the best. So
Love it. And he's also a Patriots fan, clearly, which isn't a plus that we will talk about on the call, but we'll
it's
leave that
always a little
alone.
risky. It's always a little
Yeah,
risky wearing the old local sports
it's
hat
a
because
webinar, man. You got people that are all over the place.
I know played
Yeah,
myself
man. Come
there.
on. I guess so. All right. All right, cool, guys. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do some things that we commonly do here at Results Driven, and I am going to talk about as my wife is blowing my phone up, I got to put my phone on do not disturb. She can bypass it. All right. That's crazy. All right. So what we're going to talk about is we're going to go through, and I'm going to share my screen really quick. Let me know whenever you guys can see it, and we're going to talk through some common myths that once again I see with PPL. Give me a thumbs up whenever you guys can see my screen. Yes, Amanda, James, perfect. All right, cool. All right, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk through what we commonly hit on every single student that we work with one-to-one is we're going to talk about reverse engineering expectations in these channels, right? If I had a penny for every time I saw somebody say, well, this person wasn't super motivated, this person wasn't this person had a bad lead or whatever it might be, it's part of the game. Like we're in a volume-based industry. Just because you are paying for a lead does not mean it is going to be a lay me down opportunity for you guys to convert every single time. So what we're going to talk through is we're going to go through an exercise that we always commonly do. And the most important thing that where we can start whenever you're deploying a marketing channel is knowing the budget and the allocation of spend of what you're going to have with that specific channel. So what we like to do, there's a template that we have for this, and I believe you guys, if you guys are part of the community, you guys have access to this. If you guys have been through our uh, uh, real estate, the REBA course that we have, this is part of that. And I know that Tiffany has showed this to all of you guys that have been through that. And I know some of you guys are in the small group. You guys see this in a little bit more of a detailed format whenever we go through our marketing plans. So in this, the reality is that you have to start always with the profit goal in mind first, right? And I'm going to break each one of these categories down. You can see that I'm going to fill in where the yellow places are, right? So I'm just going to do some basic things here, right? If I wanted to, me, Aaron Letty, as a active real estate investor, if I wanted to make $100,000 in overall profit from PPL, right? My goal was $100,000 over a period of time, whether it was 1 month, whether it was 2 months, whatever that period of time is. I'll show you that math here in a moment. If the goal is 100 grand, the next thing that I have to figure out from there is I have to then go and take my cumulative average of what my deal size is. So go to the chat for me, guys. How many of you guys are only wholesaling or you're only flipping? Just so I have a good idea in this training where people are at. Are you guys doing both, or are you guys only doing one? So Tim's only wholesaling, only wholesaling. We got some boths. I got an everything. James, you're awesome. I love you. Both, only wholesaling, wholesaling right now, and only flipping. All right. So we have a little bit of everything, right? So the people that are only wholesaling, you have to take your average wholesale fee of what you've had over, call it a 6 month or a year period, and take your average median of those deals, whether you've had a $6,000 deal or a $50,000 deal. You got to find the average of what those are, and that's going to give you your average deal size. Okay. Now for my flippers, I also want you to take same exact concept, combine your wholesales, combine your flips, combine your novations, combine whatever it is of what you're doing, and go to and combine all of those to your average deal size. The number one thing I see is that a lot of people try to say, hey, I only want to base this off my wholesales, or I only want to base this off my flips. That's not going to work in the grand scheme of it. You got to bring it all together. The reality that I've always explained to people is that us as real estate investors, what we really are as a business is we are marketers and we are salespeople, right? We are a marketing company and we are an acquisitions company. And the vehicle of how we make profit on the back end, aka our deals, that is the exits of what we do. So you got to maximize all of your exits. Whenever I go to one of the things that I see that hold people back from optimization and PPO, we'll hit on a couple of those things in a deal analysis as well. So you got to come together and pull your average deal size. So for this exercise of what we're going to go through, profit goal of $100,000, average deal size, we're going to call it, since I'm a wholesaler and a flipper, let's just call it an easy $20,000. I'm in the Midwest. I live in Columbus, Ohio. The market that I actively operate in is Dayton, Ohio, which is about an hour west of Columbus. So that is about my average deal size. I actually float around about a 22, but we'll keep it at 20 just for this exercise. Okay. Now, what you see is it does the math, very simple math, right? I wasn't the greatest student in school, but you can just take $100,000 average deal size. That tells me I got to get 5 contracts, right? Or I got to get 5 closed deals to make this work, right? Now, what you got to look at next is you have to look at your success rate. Now, your success rate, what this is a accumulation of how many contracts you lock up to then actually close them. Meaning that my only flippers, you guys probably have an incredibly high success rate because you're probably locking up every single one. You're probably closing on every single one unless there's a very rare issue that you come across. Now, for my wholesalers, are you guys going deep in a market or are you guys going wide? Meaning, are you guys going nationwide? Are you going statewide? Or are you going niche in one specific market? Go to the chat and let me know what you guys are doing. Tim, you're still rattling you're my favorite, man. Deep one market. That's the right answer. Deep. All right. Sounds like you guys have been on a webinar with us once or twice, right? All right, cool. We always believe in going deep in a market. Wide and niche, that's not a bad strategy as long as you're going niche in the wide. We can kind of talk through that. The reality in this, guys, is if you go, the reason I bring this up is this can be a drastic change in your business. Meaning that in your success rate, if you're going deep in a market, 70% is kind of your standardized success rate. Meaning that I know how my buyers buy, I know the buyer activity, and I know exactly what is going on all of these. Looks like we got a question. If we do both, is it okay to separate success rate depending on the exits? Absolutely, but you should still bring them together. So you should always look at your success rates by them. So you should separate it to look at both of them, but you should still look at whenever you're doing an exercise like this, bring it together. So if you've got 10 contracts, meaning say 5 wholesales, 5 flips, and you had 100% success rate in your flips and only 2 of your wholesales closed, you don't have the greatest success rate in your wholesaling, but you have a total of a 70% success rate with that exact example. So that's a great question, Michelle. So yes, you should separate them whenever you're looking at it, but in this example, whenever you're reverse engineering how much money to spend to optimize the performance of the channel, this has got to be the key here, okay? So whenever you're going deep into a market, 70% is kind of the staple. It is kind of the standard, the golden standard of what you're going to see in a given market, right? Once again, I hit on it. You're going to know how your buyers are buying. You're going to know the market very, very well. So you're going to know block by block, street by street, everything inside that area because you're analyzing and learning it. Like you know the zip codes to avoid. You know what types of properties people are taking down, things like that, right? Now, whenever you go nationwide, now niche is going to be a little bit different. So a little bit of a slight adjustment there, but normally I see a success rate of sub 50 or 50 being the gold standard, right? Now that's going to alter how many deals you got to lock up on a big basis, right? So you have a little bit of a harder problem on the back end from a disposition standpoint, right? So in this, once again, example, we're going to plug in 70% because we're going deep into a market. Now what you guys see is 2 of those contracts are naturally going to fall out and you have to lock up 7 deals in order to make that 100K, right? So you got to anticipate the fallout. If you're not anticipating fallout, you're setting yourself up for failure from the very beginning, okay? Very important to make sure that we go through that. Now, this is huge, okay? This is the biggest thing that I see, and James, you could probably hit this on nail on the head, is I see people complaining about PPL channels all the time. Well, I bought 6 leads. I spent $1,000. I spent $1,500 and I didn't get any results. What we talk about commonly is whenever you're reverse engineering these channels, you have to do what we call industry standards. And until you have ran a marketing channel yourself, in my honest to God opinion, for a minimum of 6 months, you have to use industry statistics. You can't use your data until you have ran it for 6 months. Then you can start to plug in your numbers to then change and alter how this would look from a planning perspective. So the number of what you guys always got to look for is that 20 of these leads is going to land you a deal, right? Like 20 of these leads, meaning that you got to buy 20 leads in order to get to the point of 1 contract, okay? So in this given example, I always have to, if I'm new to PPL or I'm launching PPL, like we had somebody at the very beginning mention that they had just signed up for property leads, right? What I need to be looking for is I have to think in my head is if I want to get 1 contract, if 1 contract is call it $20,000, I need 20 leads. right? So we'll get to the math here in a moment, and I'll break down exactly what to anticipate for this. But once again, in this example, if I want to make 100 grand, that means I need to generate 140 PPL leads in order to get to the point of making my $100,000. Okay. Next is you're going to insert your cost per lead. If we have a little bit of time at the end, James can hop in and he can kind of show in the property leads portal exactly what that looks like. I think on average, something that I see is anywhere from 2 to 250. That's why I put 250 in here of cost per lead. Your guys' markets are going to be very different. So that's going to be very important for you guys to understand that across any of these PPL providers, the cost per lead might be different. So important to understand that. That's something you're trying to drive. Theoretically, you want to drive the lowest cost per lead. You want to see where people are hovering, where people are going, and that's part of the strategy of what we talk about commonly. Is that you want to almost have all of the PPL providers that you're playing the game with, right? If I had an allocation of budget of, call it $7,000 to $10,000 that I wanted to invest into PPL, I would want to equally distribute it on where I'm finding lowest cost per lead. So it's kind of like a manual process, but in the grand scheme of it, it's going to be very important that you guys hone into that. So once again, back to the example, $250 cost per lead is going to drive in an estimated cost per deal of $7,000. And then if this is my true average deal size, I'm anticipating a ROAS, a return on my investment, right, of a 2.86, right? So almost a 3x ROI whenever you're going into the grand scheme of things, right? So really quick, I think that's one of the most important things. And I'm actually going to let you guys go to the comments, ask questions. If there's any questions about reverse engineering this channel, let's hit it really quick before I move on to the next things of what I commonly see, which is going to be the outreach cadence to make sure that you guys are maximizing your efficiency on essentially how do we reach out to these leads? What should it sound like? What should it look like to make sure that we're optimizing the channels? Any questions to this point? Or James, you got anything that you want to add, my friend?
Um, I actually wrote something down that I want to add to a presentation that I give on this, which is anticipating fallout. Because that's amazing advice. I think a lot of people plan best case scenario, and you have to plan worst case because that's really the best way to hit your numbers. One of the
Right.
things that I talk about when I'm, talking about PPL best practices is budgeting for volume, which is sort of along the same lines. Interestingly enough, with property leads, we have a lot of data that shows when people buy 200 leads from us, they're like less than 1% chance likely to cancel their account once they hit that 200 lead threshold. So what that tells me is if you budget for volume, right, in addition to planning for fallout, with those two things, you're going to be in really good shape. So that was a writer downer for me. I've never personally thought about that, and that was worth me jumping on this call for me personally. So thank you for that.
Nice. Look at that. We're all learning something today. Good.
Excellent.
All right, cool guys. Remember that this is the key. The biggest takeaway I want you guys to hit from this is don't have skewed math. Don't have skewed expectations. Don't have any of that going into it. I've always been a firm believer of like what James just said. You have to anticipate the bottom of everything and then just get better from there, right? Like you have to give industry statistics and then just get better from there, right? Like that has got to be the incremental goal of what you're measuring every quarter, every month, what you're looking at. Whenever you're thinking of KPIs, those are the things that you got to go in and analyze and what you really got to go in and look at, right? So level setting the expectations, one of the biggest things of what I've seen from PPL, just to make sure that you guys are optimizing everything on there, okay? Now I'm going to go into the fun stuff, right? Which is the cadence and the outreach of exactly what we do and how we label things. And this is how you're going to drive really connectivity. Another thing that I commonly see from the students, who we're working with, is they're like, "Man, I'm getting these leads, but we just can't get them on the phone, right? Like we can't get them on the phone. We can't get them on the phone." So this is our process that we have seen that works really, really, really well. And what me and Josh has personally seen by following this exact SOP is we see that over a 70%. Like 70% is once again that golden standard of connectivity rate to these leads. whenever they do come in. Like you're naturally going to have those people that they don't pick up the phone, right? But in this, like this process of how you systematize it, how you follow up with this one specific channel is absolutely critical. It matters in all the other channels just as well. So if you guys are doing any other channels, it's very important. That's not what we're here to learn today, though. So I think it's very important that we start with this. In our system, what we define as a discovery lead, what that means is that whenever a new lead is submitted, meaning that, say, I have a new lead from Property Leads that comes in, zaps right into my system, and it shows up as a brand new lead. What the process is from the moment that we reach out to them is we hit a call attempt number one. And what that is essentially we go through and we call the lead immediately. The goal is within 5 minutes of that lead coming into the system, somebody on my team is making the outreach to get to that person. Okay. You're paying a lot of money for these leads. They're not cheap. So you have to make it a very high priority and expectation settings, whether you're the ones that are taking the phone calls or you have a team that's hitting this consistently. Now, what we have in this is the first initial outreach is a triple dial. So we're calling. If we don't make contact, we're calling again immediately, and then we're calling again immediately. Okay. If that is no answer, then we move and we segue into 3 to 4 hours later, meaning it goes into a discovery campaign now. The definition of discovery for us is a new lead that we have never made physical contact with, right? I know some of you guys have preset campaigns that are like no contact made, same exact concept based off of your CRMs of however you guys are organizing it, right? So then the next process is after 3 to 4 hours. So say this lead came in like right now. In 3 to 4 more hours, I want to try the process again. And I want to just call it, right? And then I want to leave a voicemail. Okay. The goal in the voicemail is that you want to leave an extremely vague voicemail. This is the process of what our team uses. And it can just be like, hey, this is Josh. Just give me a call back whenever you can. Looking forward to talking to you soon. Right? Like you're not saying, hey, I saw that you filled out some information. Give me a call about 123 Main Street. I'd love to make you an offer. You don't want to add your sales resistance and the sales friction immediately right out of the gates for all those things. So we leave a very vague voicemail of, hey, this is Josh. The psychology of doing that is essentially they're thinking like, who's Josh? How do I know a Josh? Maybe this is important. Maybe I should give him a call back. So you don't want them to think that they're going to be engaging into a sales conversation. You're just going to start the process out with a lot of friction and a lot of barrier, even though they filled out a web form. Okay. It's just natural human psychology. The best way I can give you an example of this is imagine whenever you guys go into like a Best Buy or like a retail store, all of you guys on this call are probably like, I'm just looking, you're browsing, but you know that you're damn well there for some type of an intent, right? So very important that you funnel through that. And then also after that, you're also shooting a text after the voicemail. Similar thing. Hey, it's Josh. Give me a call whenever you can. Right. All right. So then you segue into it and going into day two. So now we're going into call attempt number 3. So we're attempting the third call. This isn't a touch point. This is a physical phone call. We'll get to the touch points here in a moment. So then you're calling it attempt number 3 in the morning, attempt number 4 in the afternoon. So next, you're leaving once again another voicemail. Hey, this is Josh. It's really urgent. Please give me a call back whenever you can. Right. And then text number 2, similar thing. So give me a call back ASAP. It's very important that we connect today. So we're following through the cadence and we're following through this process. We're going through this line by line, step by step. And essentially, we're giving this to our team to maximize the efficiency of exactly what they are doing. Right. And then after that, days 4 through 10 in the daily cadences, we're calling once a day on a minimum standard. And if there's no answer, we're leaving it a voicemail and we're sending texts. So we're sending the same thing over and over and over again with the intent to reach them. Okay. So really simple that we're going through and we're really maximizing the efficiency and the outreach based off of this one marketing vexation. And really the key in this is that whatever system you're using, whether you're using like a Podio, whether you're using a Resimpli, it doesn't matter what CRM you're using. You just have to prioritize the lead status meaning that this one we define as discovery, which is why the systems are so important. And those of you that have been out to the 2-day workshop, like we sit in a room during our shadow day and we cover this in detail, right? So like something like this cadence right here, we cover in extreme detail, not only for this process, but for all the other processes. And that's kind of like where we spun all this up from. And the key here, guys, is that you got to have a process of hitting it from the lead source into the type of marketing campaign. So in this, I would create essentially a view. I would create a filter because I use Resimply. Josh uses Podio. And Podio terms, a view would be essentially he would go in and he would set discovery within a certain time parameter. So if it's within 1 day, within 2 days, within 3, within 4, it's quick hit views with then adding in the additional layers of discovery within that time period. And then he would hit in and pull in marketing channel. So the lead source would be PPL, and then whatever the PPL provider what is. You can pull them all in. I would pull them all in because if you're using them all, that would be the key with everything. So once again, the key in this is like that the common, once again, misbelief I hear, and I'm sure James can probably contest to the same exact thing. We hear commonly from so many people of like, I can't make contact. I can't get a hold of these people. Well, you got to find new, unique ways of getting to have a conversation. And I see like Mark on there with the filtering calls. Same exact process. If it's doing the filtering calls, like I get all the time, it says like, who are you? Why are you calling? Same exact thing. I would leave a vague thing. Hey, this is Josh. It's super important. I would just stop right there. Right? I would just stop right there. Hey, it's Josh. Hey, it's Aaron. And almost just pause, right? You don't need to go into the details of everything because once again, they're going to hear it and they're going to be like, I don't got time for that. X. And then you're going to get the thing of, oh, this person's not available. Leave a voicemail, right? So with the new filtering calls, that's very important that you guys go through. You learn that it's the same exact thing. It's kind of like a version of like a bypass of a voicemail, but you're still hitting the voicemail. Okay. Great question, Mark. Mark, is that what you're talking about? The filtering? All right, perfect. All right, cool. All right, love it. All right, so guys, what this breaks down to, right, is a couple of things of what we're tracking. We're tracking in this. We're big trackers. We track everything. You have to track the KPIs are the life source of your business to understand how things are functioning, how they're working, right? So what you're trying to measure is you're trying to measure the total percentage of leads that were contacted on a day-to-day basis, and then the leads that are moved from discovery to contact made. So whenever I gave you guys the initial statistic of this process is given and driven over a 70% connect rate from these leads that come in to have a conversation, what we do with that conversation afterwards is a different conversation that's down the road, right? That's not for this training. But for this specific one, we're trying to drive how many leads did we make contact with? So if I generated 20 leads, how many of them did I actually have a conversation with? And whenever you get that conversation number higher, guess what? Naturally, I can't guarantee you guys anything, but guess. I want you guys to go to the chat. What do you guys think is usually the result whenever you have more conversations? Nobody knows? Nobody knows? There you go, Mark. More contracts, more deals, make more money. There it is, right? More money, more problems. We want more problems. It's what we're investors for, right? We love problems. We love to solve them. So one thing of what we're tracking, obviously average attempts per contact. So if 123 Main Street comes into my thing, into my CRM, I'm measuring how many times did we actually outreach that individual. So if I'm looking at this and we're at 10 days, I should be looking at, have we contacted and made an attempt to contact this person 39 times? That is the goal after 10 days. Have I made 39 attempts in order to contact this person? Meaning all of the triple dials that I hit, all of the texts, all of the voicemails, all of the outreach cadence. And if we only hit 20, you missed the mark. You have a big opportunity of optimization within your CRM and within your system, right? So I will tell you that we know that the money is in the follow-up. The money isn't, I bought this lead and I converted this lead at a high level. Yes, that might happen here and there. You might get some low-hanging fruit from some of these opportunities because you are removing a lot of the friction of what like a cold call lead would be, because this person did opt in to receive some type of communication, right? So the guys that are, doing this and they're running their huge campaigns to drive these things in for you, like that's the beauty, right? Is you get a lot of key things here, but you got to optimize the performance in doing this. Okay. So really quick, James, before I hit on that, I want to make sure you guys understand this, right? So every discovery lead should be called 15 times within those 15 days, and that equates to a grand total of 39 touch points between voicemails, text, and phone calls, right? And then Michelle, you bring up a beautiful point. Another way that you can do this, and like this is something that if you guys don't like the SMS components, if you don't like the risk of SMS, even though there technically is opt-in compliance language that's in whenever they fill out the web forms, if you don't like it, I know emails are a great mechanism as well. My personal advice is I would follow the same exact cadence. I actually personally do this. I would follow the same exact cadence and then add in an additional email nurture campaign that goes out with every touch point of every single day for those 10 days and then afterwards. Okay. That's a great call out. Michelle, is a beautiful question. Thank you for asking it. James, what you got, man?
Yeah, amazing. On the follow-up piece, one thing that we found that was really interesting was 20% of refunded leads for no response sell to somebody in the next 6 months. So what that means is people submit it for no response. We also get no response when we reach out, but titles, there's still a recorded title transfer in the next 6 months. And what that tells me is that the person that follows up the best gets the deal. So
Yep.
don't ever give up on those no responses. It's absolute gold.
Yeah, there's actually something I see a lot. I asked this question on our shadow day of our 2-day workshop, and because I run the systems portion of it, and I always ask the question about how do people define dead leads, right? And people commonly will go in and they will dead a lead because they haven't made contact with it or they haven't had any conversation within 3 months. And to me, it's the biggest rookie mistake I think anybody can make because once again, like you paid for the lead. Like, why ever get rid of it? Even if they're mad, they're frustrated, they call and you get cussed out. Like it is what it is. They might just be having a bad day. Set a future follow-up day. Set a follow-up date for 6 months down the road. There is actually a true stat and a statistic that showcases like life-changing events happen for people every 6 months, right? If you guys can think about your guys' lives 6 months ago compared to what it is now, there's probably big things that have changed or big things have adjusted. So the same thing's happening for all of the contacts and all the details of what you guys have in your CRM. So there is like true logic behind future follow-ups for all of those key people of what you want to do. Now, the dead, you only dead like the true things that are like dead phone number, which if I would just go skip trace it, that's what I would do. Like it's a fraudulent lead. Like there's things that constitute as bad that you would want to dead, but rookie mistake, never dead any of those opportunities. You always want to keep them in your queue, keep them in your pipeline, do something really well with them. Yeah, James, look at every lead. Yep, 100%. Yep. I love it. All right, cool. Guys, any questions in this? Any questions that I can answer? Anything of what you guys want to throw in the chat that I can hit really quick? Linda, what is the difference between paying for PPL and having our own cold callers bring in leads? And most PPL companies pulling their list from the same place we are pulling their list from, having a hard time selling the owners on my company on why we need this. Okay, so here's the reality. James, I think you can hit on this pretty well. Here's my thought process in this is your PPL companies, if you're paying for PPL leads, meaning you're getting like a $200 lead, that should not be a cold call lead. That is just the reality of what I will die on a hill from. I run cold calling at an extremely high level, and my cost per lead is incredibly low, right? So you should not be paying $200 or $50 or I don't think you should pay for a cold call lead in general, right? Like I think that's asinine. Um, that's my honest to God truth. Hopefully, you guys can appreciate transparency from me. I don't think I would ever recommend anybody to ever do that. If you worked with me as a coach, I would never tell you to do that. I would look at you dead in the face and be like, let's stop that right now. If you're paying for PPL, there's only a few sources of how these leads typically will come in. And they need to be from a digital space, meaning that it's coming from an SEO source, it's coming from a website source, it's coming from a PPC source, a Facebook ad, something of a digital presence that got a person to opt in to bypass the friction of what you feel in a cold call lead, right? So you're paying you're paying more money for a higher quality lead theoretically, right? Like that is what you're doing. So to answer your question, Melinda, it depends on what your strategy is. Now PPL, once again, like you saw me reverse engineer it from the very beginning. It is a higher cost per contract. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is another common thing of what I see people make mistakes on, which is how to not properly maximize your exit strategies to make sure that you're getting to that, $20,000 plus average deal size. So if you're struggling to have your company, invest into it, maybe it's I don't understand, and maybe I have to reverse engineer the math of how this is going to function and operate. But I think the reality is, I think everybody on this call, if you guys are doing cold calling, you know that cold calling, I mean, whenever I first started cold calling, I reverse engineered it. It's one of 100 leads is going to land you a contract. I mean, even if you get super niche, super targeted, you might get down to like a 50, which is where I have gotten over a period of time. But like I feel like I'm a wizard with data in this day and age. And it took a long time to get there. So like it took a lot of experience, a lot of data tracking, a lot of narrowing things in order to get to that point. But PPL, the idea of what you're paying for is you're bypassing to have to go through all those things. It's more of like an easy button for getting a high quality, highly motivated lead. James, you want to hit anything else on that? Because I think that's a really important call out.
Yeah, I'm really glad that was asked. And I agree with you, by the way. The objective with PPL, in my opinion, is to be able to buy a lead that has a high propensity to sell or a high, likelihood to sell in we'll call it in the next 6 months because that's how we grade ourselves, internally. But whatever the time frame is the time frame. In terms of Melinda's question on why they need it, I have seen people come from doing a lot of cold calling and they think, well, I'm just going to do PPL and it's like the easy button. Man, we've been successful with cold calling. So PPL is going to be the easy button. We're just going to run it. It's inbound. They're going to be layups. And while I would say the phone calls are more enjoyable because you don't have well, I don't know, you make me an offer. You called me. Like, you called me. It's like my least favorite sales objection on the cold calling side of things. You are still going to experience bottlenecks that you will run into along the way that you have to fix. And I see it a lot where folks start buying leads with us. They buy 20 leads, like Aaron mentioned. They say, well, the leads stink. We're not, we're going to stop doing this. When the reality is they just didn't stick with it long enough, right? They didn't budget for the volume piece of this. So, Melinda, if you guys are looking to scale lead volume, it may be something that you're adding as an extra lead source. But I'd be, maybe not for this call, but I'd be curious to know why you think you need it. Is it you're looking for easier? Like what's the thought process there? Maybe set up a
Yep.
call and we can sort of take a look.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna hit on a couple other things. Jeff asked about door knocking. Here's my yes. To answer your question, yes, Jeff. Yes, yes, yes. You should. Now, the only thing of what I will say is that if you really break down the highest expense that would ever go into the ecosystem and the flow of driving in cost per contract, you have human touch, meaning that you leaving your office, you leaving the ability for you to make more dials, you getting in your car, getting into traffic, going and having the conversation, sitting down with the seller, going through all that stuff. Like, yes, it's an efficient way to make contracts happen. Is it a super scalable process? Yes and no, depending on how you build your business. So I will tell you, yeah, you should do it if you want to optimize performance in the channel. Make it happen, right? I'll never look at somebody and say, don't get the contract. Always get the contract. Always make it happen. But you got to understand at the same time, it is the most expensive touch point of what you can do. So you need to have a vetting process and a qualification. Now, if you haven't made contact with them, I think what you can talk about doing is maybe after you run through your 39 touches, then it goes into a process of after the 39 touches, then it goes into a list, and maybe it's your door knocking list now, right? The goal is that if you can get through something like this and optimize to get to a 70%, now you're only looking at the 30%, right? So that might be a way to narrow that in. Just don't go door knock them if you haven't made contact in 2, 3 days, right? Like maybe run 10 days or 2 weeks or figure out a process that's going to really work well for you. There's not a right or wrong way to do it, but you got to ask yourself, am I optimizing my time and my efficiency in my business by doing this? And the answer could be yes, and it could be no. So it just depends on where you're at and your stage of where your company is. Absolutely. All right, cool. David asked me. David, I'll go through that at the very end. Okay, I'll talk about the different providers that are out there because there's a ton. I'll hit them all. Okay. Really quick, guys. The next thing I'm going to hit on before I kind of open it up for Q&A, and I'll hang out a little bit after this too if you guys have any additional questions. The next thing I'm going to talk about, guys, is I'm going to ask you a very simple question. This is one of the most important questions because I feel like I know the answer to a lot of this. Is I want you guys to go to the chat for me and give me a quick sentence or give me a formula for how you guys are underwriting deals currently. What are you guys doing? How are you guys determining is a deal a deal? I'll wait because I know it's a little bit of a complex thing.
Might have left him speechless.
I might have. They're like, I don't know. How do I know if a deal's a deal? Are you guys using a calculator? What are you guys using? Homemade deal calculator. Justin, elaborate for me. Is it giving you a percentage of ARV minus repairs? Is that what you're analyzing it based off of in theory? All right, I'm going to give you guys the answer you guys are probably all using, okay? Unless all you guys are just underwriting gurus, which you're just going to be like, man, this guy should just shut up and I should not listen to him anymore. So here's what I see, right? This is what I see a lot of the time is in what people are analyzing, people are running quick numbers and they're underwriting deals incorrectly. And I'm going to use an example in this, okay? This deal that I have up here right now, okay? You guys have access to, everybody has a calculator for analyzing a deal. We all have one, right? There's all one that's in existence. Now, this is a great example of somebody like a Josh, right? Josh is a rehabber. I'm a rehabber. Me and Josh are both rehabbers. We will buy properties sight unseen and we'll close in like 3 days. Like we'll do that all day long. The key in this is that if you look at this deal, and I see a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll do ARV at 70% of whatever ARV is minus repairs. That's like our most common formula, right? That's your basic Mayo tree. And I see a lot of people making the rookie mistake of still using that, right? And it's not a bad way to determine, am I close? But here's the reality in this, right? I'm going to give you guys some simple math here, okay? If I was to look at this deal that I have up right now, we have ARV of this specific deal at $350,000. So if I bought a $200 lead, I was having a conversation with James and I got to the conclusion James is in a distress situation. I've processed him. I've gone through the whole entire thing, right? So James fits my ICP. We're going through it. I'm determining what I can offer James here, right? Now, James might want something that's crazy. We'll talk about that in a moment, right? So if some of you guys are looking at this and you say, all right, $350,000 is my ARV, and I have a repair estimate of this property at $35,000. Doesn't need any crazy repairs, super cosmetic, right? So if I did 350,000 times 0.7, I'm at 245,000 minus my 35. I am at 210,000. And then obviously you got to factor in what your assignment fee, right? So how much do you want to make on this deal? Maybe James wants $220,000, or maybe James wants $230,000, right? The reality in this given example of what I'm talking about right now, a lot of people would offer extremely low, right? But if James is looking at me and he's like, dude, I want $230,000. And if I know that I have Josh High as my buyer in this given situation, and this is what I mean by maximizing your guys' exits, and it's important to go deep into these markets, is if I'm looking at this exact example here, this exact example, if I have a $350,000 ARV, I have my repair cost at 260. Say I want to buy this thing, or Josh would buy this thing at 260 because I know Josh's criteria. Josh would use his own money, so he doesn't have any hard money costs. He doesn't have any private money costs. He would self-fund this deal, right? I know that because I have vetted him as a VIP buyer, right? Like I know how he buys deals. So in this, I have none of this, which is normally like a 10,000, 12,000, maybe even higher fee of what we're anticipating in that basic formula of 70%. So I'm removing that out of the equation because I know how Josh buys. Josh would buy this deal all day long. I would buy this deal all day long, right? Now, if James, as my seller, wants $230,000, why not lock it up at 230, right? Maybe I negotiate a little bit lower. Maybe I go to 220, and maybe I get James down a little bit, right? Or maybe even at 210. The negotiation, obviously, the price is never the thing. Like the value of outside of price is always the key whenever you lean into the distress part of the sales process, right? But the reality here is Josh will buy this deal at $260,000, and it's still a deal for Josh, right? So as the basic, the normal formula that a lot of people are leaning into, a lot of people are exercising, it doesn't work anymore, right? It gives you a basic concept, right? It gives you a basic idea, but it's important that you guys understand how your buyers are buying deals if you're wholesaling. This is why we've always stood on the hill that it's always important to analyze a deal as a rehabber first, then back your way into what your assignments are going to be. Because if you're a rehabber by trade, you understand the major components of a house, all of the things that go into rehabbing it. You're easily going to know that you're not walking away from these types of deals. Because I guarantee in all of your guys' markets, there are definitely buyers, your mom and pop buyers or your huge buyers that are possibly buying deals this specific way. And it might be like nearing the end of the month, and Josh is like, dude, I got to buy 5 more deals, right? Like that could be the case. I bought 4 deals before the month was over in February. I panic bought 4 deals because I needed to fill my queue up, right? And I paid out over $190,000 in assignments on those 4 deals, right? Because they know how I buy, right? So it's very important that you guys understand this. This is another thing that I commonly see is that people aren't underwriting these deals the proper way. Or whenever I get a student that's like, dude, I'm getting great connectivity rates. So the process is working, right? I'm getting the leads. I built my budget based off this. I'm hitting a 70% connectivity rate. We're having great conversations with these people, but we're just far off in price. Well, are you far off in price or are you having an underwriting gap? Are you having an underwriting opportunity that you need to lean into, right? So that is one of the biggest things that I see, and it all kind of feeds into each other, right? So it's very important that you guys go and you take that away. That's a big takeaway that I want to make sure that you guys leave with because it's another big common misbelief that I see with this channel is people just aren't looking at the deals the proper way. They're leaving money on the table in the underwriting portion. You're paying for the best leads. You reverse engineered your math. You have proper expectations. You're optimizing your conversions. Then you got to do the best thing on the back end, which is underwrite the deal the proper way in order to maximize your profitability, right? Because without this right here, all of the work that you just did on the front end of what I just walked you guys through, none of it matters, right? And then you're going to be in the 30, the 40, the 50, and then you're going to be freaking out, being like, why did that one guy hop on a webinar with me on that random Thursday and he lied to me? And I promise you, I'm not lying to you guys, right? So that is one of the biggest takeaways that I got to hit on that. That's like one of the huge things of what I see. James, is there anything else that you want to add in that? I don't know if you have anything that you want to add in that, or I'm just going to throw you the bone if you got it. But if not, hopefully I hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, you crushed it. Everything you said, I agree with wholeheartedly. You may have talked about this early in the presentation, but The biggest needle mover we see for like folks doing deals in addition to all this stuff is calling super fast. So I'm curious in the chat, you can guess if you don't know the answer. How fast would you guess you'd have to call these leads to have the best chance to win the deal? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it, 60 seconds? Like drop some stuff in the chat. I want to see what everybody's got cooking and what they think there. Oh baby, we got some stuff coming in. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, as soon as I purchase the lead, within 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Ricardo, Ricardo, Ricardo. Immediately, David, yep. Okay, cool. So, a couple weeks ago, I was talking to a really high level operator, you know, 30 deals a month. They were running paid ads and they were calling leads within 90 seconds of the leads coming in. Sounds really fast, right? They were losing money. They were losing a ton of money month over month. They made one change. They started calling the leads in 30 seconds or less. And literally overnight, everything changed. They started locking up deals. They started making money. Speed to lead is the most important thing. Getting to these folks within 30 seconds, if you can, is super critical. 10 minutes, honestly, man, Aaron's already called and closed the deal. He probably already has the deal assigned at that point. If you're waiting 10 minutes, they've already talked to two or three people. These sellers are on average filling out two forms. The objective, get them on the phone, keep them on the phone with a really good sales call.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. I'm gonna use the last like 2 minutes, and you guys are gonna be talking, then I'll open it up for you guys for questions. Um, I want to kind of talk through holistic strategy. I hit on it a little bit, but I'll go a little bit deeper into it, and I'll stop sharing my screen. So one of the most important things that I have seen that has worked is I think you have to, whenever you guys go through and you analyze and you reverse engineer and you say, hey, this is my goal. I think it's very important that you go and you pull up. And I think the biggest action item I want you guys all to go do is it is absolutely free. It is absolutely free to make an account with all of the PPL providers. And the reality is there's three that I want you guys to really make an account with. There's three that I really stand by, which goes back to an initial question. We have tested so many PPL providers. There's a ton of them out there. We have narrowed it down to like really three that I would stamp my hat on that does good business. And in those three, one is going to be, I got James here with me, I Property Leads, right? So Property Leads, they're a great company. They crush it. Our students consistently are getting crazy results from it. I'd love to see it. It's like one of my favorite things to see whenever they post the wins in those. The next one is going to be Lead Zolo. I've seen great results with them. I personally am using them right now as well. And I'm getting great results with Lead Zolo as well. And then the next one is going to be Motivated Sellers. You can get sometimes pretty cheap leads at like in the $75 to $100 range for those. So once again, from the volume perspective, you might be able to add more volume in that. So the action items of what I would say in this is I would want you guys to go in and I want you guys to make a free account with those providers. And from there, go and look in your specific counties, in the specific areas of what you're hitting, and see what your guys' cost per lead is. I would go to the most profitable areas of where you guys are really driving in deals, across everything, right? Meaning that if like you have a specific county that you flip in, or if you don't flip in, remember you want to maximize your exit strategies with this specific channel. So go in, look at what is driving you guys one of the lowest cost per leads, and you gotta look at it. You gotta look at it almost every day, every week. Like you're spending money in each one of those accounts. I look at my accounts and I see that I have active money in every single one of them on a consistent basis. It's like I'm playing a game. So if I'm noticing halfway on a Wednesday, if I'm not getting close to the amount of leads of what I need to feed my team for the week, I'll go pour money on it and I'll be like, all right, I got to throttle this up and I got to get more leads in. But I'm also keeping track of where those leads are going, how many I'm getting per channel, right? So it's very important that you're monitoring that and you're measuring it because I want 20 on Lead Zolo, I want 20 on Property Leads, and I want 20 on Motivated Sellers. That's the staple. That is the number that I'm driving towards, right? And if you're not converting at that point, you got to ask yourself, is my connectivity an issue? That means I probably have a systems gap, right? I have a priority in a systems gap that I have to go address. So you might have some things of what you need to look inside there. And then if you're not getting that and maybe you're dying at in the sales process, maybe you have some loopholes in your sales process that you need to button up. And then the last thing is, am I maximizing my exits? Am I underwriting deals actually the best possible way? And it's very important that you know exactly how your buyer's buying. There's six types of different buyers. I would look directly into those. Okay. That's all. That's like the number one piece of advice I would give you guys before I open it up for, questions. We've vetted these guys. We've seen it. We've done a lot of business. We do a lot of volume. We do a lot of deals with those three providers. So those are the ones that I would just stamp my hat on. I wouldn't just try to stamp my hat on anybody, if that makes sense. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Any questions of what you guys got? We can hang around for like 10 more minutes and answer any questions of what you guys have. Or if you guys want, I think I can bring people up, right?
I'm looking for you right now, but I know
I think it's a possibility. I mean, possibilities.
it's a possibility.
Yeah, I can
Uh,
allow. So, yeah, if you
yeah.
guys have any questions, let me know. And you guys can raise your guys' hands, and I'll allow you guys to talk. And you guys can ask me any questions of what you guys got, or you guys can put in the chat if you don't want to talk to me.
Yeah, and Aaron Hill, not Aaron Letty. Um, the link I dropped there is just like a easy landing page where we put all three of those providers there with a little synopsis of what they each do. I mean, they're very similar, so but we always recommend you kind of look at all three because your market's going to be different for everybody.
think too, one thing that's I think worth noting on the contact piece is we realized probably 6 months ago we were getting a lot of people calling in to like one of our sites, and we were doing like the lead intake, we were hanging up the call, and then there was like a no response when you, the investor, reached out. So what we rolled out to try to help with that is live transfers. So now if we can get somebody to call in, we're just going to live transfer them right to you. So like instead of you having to like worry about calling the seller within 30 seconds, like if you literally just answer the phone, we're just going to connect you live and you can just lock up the deal there and make a whole bunch of money. So um, to my knowledge, we're the only ones doing that. And it doesn't cost anything extra. We just do it because we care about you guys and we want you to win. So, um, if you're using property leads and you're not utilizing the live transfers, I would definitely recommend you do that.
All right. Looks like Jeff asked, not a fan of motivated sellers. What about speed to lead? Yeah, I mean, my intent is not I don't want you guys to think I'm talking bad about any company. That's not my intent, right? We've tested them. I didn't see the best success. I was in a one of 37 leads to get a contract versus all the other ones that I was testing. I was sub 20. So to me, there was a lead quality component to it. And I do know that I hate like I told you guys my feelings of the cold call stuff. I don't like that. So I feel like there's crossover in some of that stuff. And I just haven't been a big fan of that. So I personally saw and Josh personally saw higher leads per contract, which ultimately contradicts exactly how to get to the math of conversion, which me as a business owner, all I'm looking at is my metrics and am I off pace or on pace? And that's like how I'm analyzing everything in my business. And that's what I'm really looking for. So I'm not trying to get the cheapest, right? I want something that's ultimately going to perform and it's going to convert. So I'm measuring my return on investment for that specific channel. So sometimes it's not about just getting like a $7 or a $27 lead or a lead that nobody made contact with that you get on a discount for 27 bucks. Like some of that stuff just doesn't make any sense because you're not following the linear process. You're just buying a lead. So to me, it's like get the enriched leads, get the ones that cost the money, allow it to run the process of what I just walked you guys through today, and that's how you're going to get maximize your efforts on the back end. So that's just kind of like my spiel on it. I know that like I've seen people that crush it with their platform. So I know people that do it. It's just I think it depends on the style of investment of what you're doing. And I know a lot of nationwide guys do pretty well with that. All right. So Melinda said for comping, what do you recommend for a newish investor that may not have a premium buyers identified yet, and know what they're looking for in deciding what to buy? Melinda, I mean, here's the reality is like, I think an easy thing for you to do. Yeah, I mean, what they're looking for, I'm going to give you things to write down. Okay. There's 6 ways people buy deals. If you're a rehabber, you're buying a deal based off of a lump sum. So if I look at the estimated net profit, there's a certain net profit that I want to make in every single flip. And or a ROI, which is a total return on investment. Some people are looking from 8 to 12, sometimes even higher, depending on how much money they have in the deal, right? So they're looking at one of those. So lump sum investment or return on investment is what the two things of what they're looking for. And they could be looking for both. So like I know Josh looks at a deal at a $30,000 lump and a minimum of an 8% ROI. That's how Josh would buy a deal. So I can backdoor his math into that one, right? And whenever I'm having conversations with people that are buying deals, that's what I'm talking about. How do you buy a deal? How do you know a deal is a deal? Walk me through what that looks like. And it's about being knowledgeable in those key things. And then outside of the rehabbers, you have your landlord buyers. So landlord buyers are buying off of cap rate, they're buying off of gross yield, they're buying off of cash flow per door. And I'm missing one, and I don't know what it is. There's one that I am missing, and somebody can probably fill in the blanks for me. Those are the ones that I typically look at: gross yield, cash flow per door, gross yield. I don't remember the other one. So that's what you're really looking for. So, I mean, you just got to, like, once again, have a formula, have math of exactly what it looks like. If you plugged in all of that information, what would be the max allowable offer based off of that? It's not equity. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I can find it, but yeah. So does that answer your question, Melinda? Yeah, cash on cash return is one of them. It does not answer your question. All right, you want to come off, you want to come on, how about this? I'm gonna bring you up here and ask it to me verbally then. Is that cool?
Can you hear me?
Hi, Melinda. I can. It's like we're on a radio
Hello.
show.
I know. My question was more of I'm familiar with the 6 different types of
Okay.
buyers, but my question is more of if you don't have that established list to where you know, okay, this buyer that goes by this ratio, I need to go to with this number for this purchase. If you don't know all of that quite yet, because you're still
Yeah.
establishing your buyers, how do you come up with the number when you're comping and doing all that that you're going to actually offer the seller? Do you come in somewhere in the middle?
No, I mean, I would encourage you before you're even doing this, I would go have the conversations with the buyers. I mean, here's what I'll tell you. If I'm just gonna be like bold in saying this, right? It really would take you 10 phone conversations to have a very clear grasp on how 10 people are buying deals. I look at last year. I did 85 deals last year myself, right? And out of the 85 deals I did, I sold them to 16 different buyers. Okay. So the reality is you got to have 16 conversations, and these conversations maybe will take you 20, 30, if even that minutes, right? So what I would tell you is go find who the best buyers are. And there's a million tools out there to go pull and scrape and find who the best buyers are. If you don't even know where to start, literally go to your local Facebook group and say, who is the best buyer in this group? And people are going to start tagging the best buyers. Or if you have a realtor who you work with, be like, hey, go find me transactions of investors that are like the top rated people, right? And maybe they can have a conversation with a high level investor that is working with a lot of clients. Pick up the phone, call them, and see how they're buying deals. That would be where you want to start because you don't want to go into a blind because you're going to leave money on the table. So if you're spending 200
Mhm.
bucks on a lead, like you're not going to drive the efficiency of what you need on the back end with everything.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you very much.
Perfect. You're welcome. That's why we have you come off mute. All right, love it. All right, cool. Any other questions, guys? I don't know how to put Melinda back, so there it is. All right.
I got you.
Thank you. You're now my first favorite person, number one now.
I don't think I saw. Yes, Lan, we will be sending out a recording to you guys. It may not be till the morning. It just depends on how quickly we can get it out.
Oh,
Okay.
Leanne said it was gold. All right, what you got to do, Leanne, is you got to go into the school community and you got to tag Tiffany and you got to tell her. I have a running
Yes.
joke. That's the only way that I got to keep my job is whenever you guys tell Tiffany that I do a good job, or she's just gonna fire me. So you guys got to go in and tell her that we had a great revolutionary webinar where we learned so much information about all of the key things. And you have 110 PPL lids sitting on a list. Oh my God, Leanne, we have deals. We have deals. We need to go find them. Okay. Cool. Leanne, shoot me a message on school. We need to look at that. That fair? Awesome. Cool. All right, guys. That's all I got for today. I appreciate you guys hopping on with me, with James, with Amanda, hanging out and learning a little bit about PPL. So appreciate you guys. I know we do these, what, Amanda, every two-ish weeks. I think I did the last one with, did I do the last one? I don't remember.
We do 3 community lives a month. It just depends
Yeah.
on when 2 day is. So it just kind of depends on that timing.
Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, I actually know some of you guys in the chat. Some of you guys will be coming out to the 2 days. So I will see some of you guys in person, not next week, the week after. I think, right? Yeah, the week
Yep.
after.
I'll be there too.
Yeah, look at that. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you guys in person, and we can chat if you guys have any additional questions and any of this too. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us on the webinar today. And we will see you guys on the next one. See you guys.